instead of obsessing over what might go wrong, I want you to start focusing on what's possible. Well, welcome back, everybody. Hi there. I'm Sally Arkell-Boles, your host, and the podcast, Limitless in Midlife, is where we rewrite the rules, reclaim our power, and remember that this chapter, it might just be the most powerful one yet. Today, we're diving into something deeply personal and often a little uncomfortable: money. But not just in the way we usually talk about it. This isn't about spreadsheets, budgeting apps, or financial advice, because I've actually been a financial advisor in a leadership role with finance. And I'm not here to teach you about money from that perspective. This is about the relationship you have with money, the energy behind it, the beliefs that shape it. And more importantly, how we as women in midlife can shift from scarcity to abundance, not just in our bank accounts, but in our entire lives. So, if you've ever felt stuck in a loop of never enough, this episode is for you. You see, money isn't just math, it's mindset. And I know a lot of people in finance have a hard time believing that. And I've actually seen some of them, just roll their eyes. But most of us were never taught how to have healthy, empowered relationships with money. We were taught how to earn it, maybe, how to save it, well, hopefully, but not how to feel safe with it, not how to expand with it, and not how to believe we deserve more of it. And especially not as women, and especially not those of us that are in midlife. So I want to share a moment with you, a moment that I'll never really forget. You see, as I said, I had been in finance for quite a few years, about 13 years. And I was sitting in a high level leadership meeting one day. And by all appearances, I had made it. But inside, I was exhausted. I had the salary, multiple six-figure salary. I had the title. I had the power suits, but not the sense of abundance. I still felt like I had to prove myself. Like if I slowed down or took a break, the whole thing would fall apart. Does this resonate with you? I want you to put in the comments today your thoughts throughout this actual podcast, because there are so many of us that have experienced the same things, but we think we're alone. So I want us to be vocal in the comments so that we can support each other and create a community of like-minded women, but also so that I can start speaking to exactly what the challenges are you're having so I can guide you along that path. But when it hit me that day, I wasn't in scarcity because I didn't have enough money. I was in scarcity because I didn't feel like enough. Not enough money, not enough in who I was being. And maybe you felt that way too. Because scarcity isn't truth, it's conditioning. So let's talk about what scarcity really is. It's that quiet panic when an unexpected bill shows up. My husband and I had that happen when we just came back from Playa del Carmen, a beautiful 2-week vacation. And it was cold back here in Canada. We got back to pick up our car at the airport and we couldn't get the car going. The fob wasn't even working to get into the car. And all of a sudden, we were faced with some decisions. We actually had to go and stay at a hotel for the night because there was nobody that was going to service us at 10 o'clock at night. And the next day, we had to have the car towed to a place, to the dealership where we could get it repaired. And we had a $5,000 bill show up. The day we got home from the travels where we had this fabulous time, and all of a sudden we were hit with this bill. So what's the first thing that comes up? Oh my gosh, why did we go on vacation? We just spent all that money and now we have to invest $5,000 into the car to get it fixed. Right? So what is it that happens for you that you get that quiet panic when an unexpected bill shows up? It's the hesitation that I see so many women do before investing in themselves. This is very common because we're not used to investing in our inner being as opposed to our outer being. You know, the earrings, the glasses, the hair, the makeup, the clothing, that's easy sometimes for us to invest in that. But to actually have to work with somebody and invest in myself to get that coaching that I need or that support that I need to move to the next level in my life and to have all those things that I'm struggling with identified so I can work towards them and get some solutions and practices in place. It's very difficult for women to do that. Whereas having worked with a lot of men over the years, they decide on that really quickly. And I'm not want to compare, that's just maybe a blanket statement, but what I've experienced in my life has been just that. A lot of women are hesitant to invest in themselves or inner work, right? To getting them to that next level in the way that's important to them. It's the belief that people like me don't get to have that kind of life when it comes to scarcity and abundance. Like, I'm just a regular cow. I mean, I'm a farm girl. I grew up on a farm in Ontario, Canada, and it was a good life. I can't complain at all. I loved it. But at the same time, we weren't the Joneses, right? The Joneses that have all the wealth and they seem to have different professions and they money came easily to them and they could afford lots of things. We weren't like that. So who are you comparing yourself to and what's the beliefs that you've got deep inside? Because here's the deal. Scarcity is learned. Scarcity is learned. It's inherited. It's conditioned. It's picked up from childhood, society, past relationships, maybe even a financial mistake or two that happened in your lifetime. So here's some of the things that you might have heard as a child. Money doesn't grow on trees. You know why? Because your parents were just starting out and they were just getting themselves into their careers. They were starting to buy a home. They had expenses. And so what was the easiest thing to say? Money doesn't grow on trees. We can't afford that. I'm sure many of you have heard that over the years or something along that line. Or maybe they even just bluntly said, we can't afford that. Save your allowance. Quit spending it on things. What about this one? We don't go on vacations outside of our area. Besides, we have great beaches right here. And on it goes. Another one you might have heard is, we have too much debt. We have to pay that down first before we spend anything else because we've got debt. We can't keep spending like this. These may be the things you've heard as an adult in your relationships. And the thing is if it's learned, it can be unlearned. Let me repeat that. If it's a learned behavior, it can be unlearned. So put in the chat some of the areas or some of the things that you heard throughout your lifetime that have, brought your abundance into feeling more like scarcity. because we've all experienced it. And we need to connect as a community of midlife women here to really be supporting each other, but also being true to each other on what we've been going through so that we can together work through it. And we don't shift into abundance by forcing or fixing. We shift into abundance by realigning, by asking, where am I shrinking? Where am I settling? Where am I staying stuck because I don't feel worthy of more? Because here's what I know. When you feel safe being who you are, you start to feel safe receiving what you want. Let me say that again. When you feel safe being who you are, you start to feel safe receiving what you, I'll say, desire. So, what I want you to think about is, can you take a soulful shift to rewrite your money story? I'm going to offer you 3 simple but powerful shifts that help you start moving from scarcity to abundance. And you can start this today. Okay, number 1, get out your pen and paper or put it in the chat because it's just as easy to put it into the chat. The first one is moving from fear to faith. We've all heard about manifesting money, right? Let's manifest our money. But why is it eluding you? Why do you think that is? Why can some people manifest abundance and yet you struggle to make ends meet? Instead of obsessing over what might go wrong, I want you to start focusing on what's possible. Remember when you were a little girl and you were playing in the playground and everything was possible? Everything. You could be the fastest runner. You could be the best gymnast. You could be the best in school grades. You could become whatever you wanted to become when you grew up, right? Abundance begins with trust. And it's not about trusting in your bank account, but trusting in yourself. I could literally spend days and days teaching you how to actually trust and align with the frequency of money. And yes, the frequency of money. Because when we are really moving from fear, we need to start to understand the energetics, right? And it really is about that energetic. And we're going to get into that later on in another episode, but I wanted to give you a taste of that today. So if you have questions on it, make sure you pop it into the chat so that we can actually start that conversation, because I've got so much I could talk about that for days and days and days and days, but I want to stay on track to this. So the second thing is going from hustle to harmony. If we want to make that shift, we need to go from hustle to harmony. Okay, hands up now. How many people have been taught about the hustle culture? You need to hustle. You need to do more. You need to be more. You need to outperform the guys because you're a gal. Right? I was stuck in that for so many years. And you do not have to exhaust yourself to be worthy of wealth. Doing all the things, having to hustle to be successful. That's not where we want to be. The most abundant women that I know work with alignment, not force. And trust me, when you finally figure that out, it's a game changer. Absolute game changer. The third one I have is from lack to limitless. Abundance isn't just about money, is it? It's about time. It's about energy. It's about joy. It's about freedom. When you start aligning with those feelings first, money begins to meet you there. Ooh, let me say that one again. When you start aligning with those feelings first, the time, energy, joy, and freedom, money begins to meet you there. And some of you might be saying, that's easier said than done, Sally. Yes, it may seem that way. But once you uncover the secret to believing that money is in abundance and available for you right now, you will start to experience how to go from lack to becoming limitless. So let yourself imagine it. What if wealth was no longer about survival, but about soulful expansion? What if wealth was no longer about survival, but about soulful expansion? So today we've really been talking a lot about how to really shift from scarcity to abundance in midlife and with money. But I have something special I want to share with you because I am inviting you to my first Limitless and Midlife Masterclass. I am so excited to be launching this. I've done many masterclasses in the past, but if this invitation or conversation is something that gave you a few eye-opening insights, maybe it also lit something up inside of you, I want you to come and join me on my masterclass. It's called Limitless, the Midlife Reboot. It's a free masterclass I created for women just like you and ones that you may know who are done playing small and they're ready to be aligned with their power, their passion, and yes, their prosperity. Inside, we'll explore how to rewire your mindset around money. Here we go. Reclaim your time and your energy. And at this stage, don't we need more energy? And we're going to step into the version of you who isn't just surviving, but thriving. Thriving. You just need to know that you don't need to fix yourself. You just need to remember who you truly are. I'll have the link up soon in the show notes and all over my social media, but I would love to see you there. Any of this today has resonated with you? Because midlife is not the time to shrink. It's the time to expand. It's not the time to count yourself out. It's the time to cash in on everything that you've learned throughout the years, everything you've built, and everything you are. Money does not need to define you, but the way you feel about it, that says a lot about how you feel about yourself. So let's shift that because you're not behind, you're not broken, and you're not stuck. You are ready and abundance is waiting. So until next time, stay bold, stay brilliant, and stay limitless. And I will see you at next week's Limitless and Midlife podcast. I'm Sally Arkell-Boles. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and follow. And definitely grab your girlfriends that are in midlife too, because I want to make sure that this community grows quickly so that we can really support each other. And I hope you're looking for the same thing as well. I will see you next week. Have a great day and make sure you sign up for that masterclass.